the first single from that album. So again, so that's the band's most popular song on Spotify. 186 million spins just on Spotify, not on Apple, not on Tidal, not on YouTube. Why do you think people love that song so much? And can you remember the first time you heard Brad sing that chorus?
Well,
It's just iconic, you know?
okay, so here we go. Uh, One of the things that we do in Crash Test Dummies is everybody is a big boy. Everybody's an adult because Ellen is as much of anything of any of us, and we understand that Crash Test Dummies has a particular sound, which is everybody that is in the band and what they contribute. But we also know that all the songs in Crash Test Dummies are written by Brad. And Brad writes a certain way, has a certain style that he writes. Brad's also very trusting in that he comes to us and he says, okay, guys, I've written a song. Here's the framework. Have at her, right? Like if you think it's great, then let's make it great, greater. And if you don't think it's great, tell me why. Let's fix it. Let's make it great. So there's a number of songs that we've been working on, Afternoons and Coffee Spoons and all that kind of stuff. And then I call it Ummity 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 just because it's my little thing. And so that comes to the table, and now there's going to be a problem here, right? And the problem is I've written this song, and these are the words, and I really don't know what the chorus should be right now. Like I don't have any words for the chorus, so I'm just humming the melody for what the chorus should be. And then as we continue to work through it, and you look at the subject matter of what the song is about, well, it kind of makes sense that the chorus would be, doing this kind of a thing. Right? That sort of hum moment. So let's let it be that. Now here we are writing this song about kids in general, people with peculiarities.
Challenges, yeah.
Yeah, challenges, peculiarities, and we don't have words in the chorus. Now the record company is not happy about that at all. Right? They says, how can we put a song out there that has no words in the chorus? It's ridiculous. And again, right, it's just pigeonhole thinking. And we stuck to our guns. Like we really stuck to our guns, and we said, well, no, we don't think it needs it. Like it doesn't need words. We're good with And they were really like, oh, come on, you guys, like this is ridiculous. We have to have words. And they didn't like the idea. They fought the idea. David Bendeth actually, he fought the idea. Not because he's an idiot or anything like that. It's because that just was unheard of. Right? How could you have a chorus without words? It just doesn't make any sense. This is the music industry. We need people going out there singing the chorus of their favorite song. So we stuck to our guns. There's a few other songs in there which we can cover if you want, that we fought for, that we said, no, this is how the song was written. This is how it's going to be. And the record company just kind of did this, right? And eventually with the other decisions that we made, they decided, okay, you know what, we're just going to put this record out there. And if it does well, fine, but it's not going to do well because there's no lyrics in the chorus. Well, wouldn't you know it, what nobody anticipated at the time is it doesn't matter what language you speak or what language you in the country that you come from. Is singable in any language, in any culture, any place in the world. And all of a sudden, no matter where we would go, people could sing, right? Not just phonetically, but they could sing the chorus of wherever we went. And that really worked out to our advantage. Now, having said that, of course, the title track, which is God Shuffled His Feet, if you're familiar with it, the opening cut is got the little drum thing that, and at the time that we were recording that, Annie Lennox, Y was just coming up, and Y had that, just everything was lush and big and beautiful. And we were kind of mocking that whole thing because a lot of bands were doing that. They're assimilating that whole lush, big backbeat groove, big sounds. And we said, let's kind of mock it a little bit and make it tiny and almost insignificant kind of a thing, but still have the groove there. Again, a record company not happy with that because Y was doing this thing and you should be doing that because that Annie Lennox is selling lots of records with this. So we should, again, we stuck to our guns and we had our ideas of what we wanted to do. And again, the record company was not happy with us. So things were stacking up against us at that point in time. And the record company had more or less resolved to say, okay, we're going to release it. It's probably not going to do well because there's no hits on this record. And, it's going to come back and we'll just drop the band and we'll be good. 99X, which is a radio station in Atlanta. I can't remember her last name, but her first name was Linda. She was a radio programmer for 99X. She heard, it was either or God Shovel His Feet, I can't remember, or it might have been Afternoons of Coffee Spoons, but she heard a song and she liked it. And so she went to her radio people and said, I want you guys playing this because I think it's good. And so they played it and they played it and they played it. It might have been, before you know it, we had sold like 150,000 records just in Atlanta.
Whoa.
And wouldn't you know that Minneapolis had the sister radio station to Atlanta. And so they started really pushing it. And before you know it, we had sold like over 150,000 records just in Minneapolis. And it was growing and it was growing. Well, wouldn't you know it, Clive Davis, who was with Arista Records at the time, that's the label that we were on in the US, after being signed with them for 4 years, looked over and said, hey, who are these guys? Right? Like they're selling a lot of records in Atlanta and selling a lot of records over here. Let's get behind this because they're selling a lot of records. Well, of course, they got behind it, started getting lots of radio play across America. And a lot of it had to do with the fact that it was just so easy to sing to. Right? Just, and it was quirky, and it was sung by a bass baritone, and it was about a subject matter that wasn't about lost love or get your sexy boots on. All these things started just building this wall of momentum. It built a wave of momentum that you couldn't argue with at the time. And now add on to that in Los Angeles, they had the earthquake. And so the radio station, K-Rock, which is arguably the biggest radio station in California, had to shut down for 3 weeks because of the earthquake. And so they had a loop that played every 2 hours, of which Amity, Amity, Amity was one of the songs that played all the time. And so it was getting the exposure. And here's this like quirky little song that was getting this exposure that people were going, and at first they were kind of mocking it and laughing about it. But now we go out and we play shows in the US and Europe and everything else. And that is what people, they play. Oh, you're going to play the song. And they love it because they can just sing along to it so casually. And of course, anybody who has grown up with any sort of peculiarity, maybe they liked blue hair and because they were being rebellious, or they had some sort of weird birthmark or whatever, they identified with the song, with the music right away, and so they just helped it grow. But of course, all these circumstances led to those things being discovered and heard and played, whereas in a lot of cases that wouldn't happen.
Yeah, I was looking through some of the comments for the music video on YouTube, and a lot of the comments were saying things like, this song helped me get through my childhood. So it had that kind of effect with the lyrical content.